This is a story of men escaping war for freedom, religion, and a life afar. This is the life of those hidden in the shadows. This is competition in a new world, and this is the story of the immigrants. Following the economic depression that America faced in 1890, the number of immigrants that America had accepted grew to 9 million from 3.5 million. Some of these immigrants continued to come from Northern and Western Europe, but there was an increase of immigrants from Eastern and Southern European countries, along with immigrants from Canada and Latin America. By 1910, Eastern and Southern Europeans made up 70% of the immigrants coming into America. There were many different reasons as to why these immigrants moved to America. Like previous immigrants, problems of religion, racism, politics, and relief from economic failures and famine are some of the reasons why they were forced out of their original country. However, some immigrants moved to America under more favorable circumstances. Recruiting agents, or padrones, offered jobs to many foreigners looking for jobs. Hungarians, Poles, Slovaks, Bohemians, and Italians worked in coal mines, while Greeks, Russians, and Polish Jews preferred working in the cloth industry, taking to their needles. Railroad companies advertised that there were free and cheap farmlands, taking immigrants westward to become agricultural workers. Even with all these opportunities, a majority of the immigrants opted to settle down in crowded cities, hoping to better their lives. Ellis Island, New York. This was a center for immigrants who could not afford first or second class passage to America. Built in 1892, the processing center at Ellis Island handled around 12 million European immigrants. Government inspectors asked these immigrants important questions. What is your relation to the United States? Are you a polygamist? What are your religious and political views? Afterwards, doctors checked these immigrants for diseases. Most immigrants were let through, unless deemed dangerous. Then, they were sent back to their original country.
Those who were banned included mental defectives and paupers, according to the Immigration Act of 1882. Importation of foreigners with prearranged work contracts, according to the Foreign Act of 1885. And polygamists, diseased, and sick immigrants, according to the 1891 law. Furthermore, anarchists, saboteurs, and beggars were banned from entering in 1903. As the scope of what was deemed as dangerous began to increase to include economic and social fields, the United States began to slowly grow a negative sentiment towards open immigration law, which thus brought upon proposals of literacy tests to slow the free and open immigration to the United States. Specific reasons behind the large net immigration movement included the rising tensions in the Balkan areas, such as the Serbians and Hungarians. As there was a rise for World War I in the Balkans due to German pressure, the Balkan pressure towards war became increasingly tense, and people fled to the United States looking for peace during the time before the war started in 1912. In fact, the period of the times in early 1900s to 1910s was a period plagued with revolutions, wars, uprisings, and struggles, such as the Macedonian struggle, Revolution of 1905, Lot's insurrection, 1907 Romanian Peasants' Revolt, Albanian Revolt of 1910, and more. For many of the people, they could not seek a peaceful daily life. Thus, many sought the U.S. as an option to escape their immediate crises.
As much as immigration was filled with sentiments both positive and negative for the people, in regards to the economic benefits it caused, it could mostly be seen in a positive light. Due to the rising industrial revolution during the time, the immigrants were able to accommodate the high demand for labor and low supply for it at the time. In fact, over 50% of the workforce in cities were foreign-born men. Furthermore, over 50% of meatpacking and steel plants, key industries within the United States, were operated by immigrants. Not only did they fill in the low supply for labor, but because of their willingness to work for extremely low wages, the industrial development of the United States was able to achieve extremely quick developments in its processes.
우린 성숙한 어른이야 이제 좀처럼 흔들리지 않아 쉽게 고연한 말 한마디 맘에 담아두지도 않아 또 손짓 이상하게 하나하나 특별해져 어색해졌잖아 나답지 않아